For years, Honda captured the hearts of cruiser bike enthusiasts and retro lovers with the Rebel 500. Then a little later on, nag-decide sila na ba't di natin lagyan ng automatic, tapos lagyan natin ng mas malaking makina, parang yung Africa Twin. And then, we got this one, the Rebel 1100. Last year, Honda Philippines finally launched this in our market, and ngayon nandito na kami for a full review. Salamat nga pala kay Airpats for lending us his bike for this review. Ngayon, before we talk about the styling, heads up lang, since personal bike to ni Airpats, marami dito mga aftermarket upgrades ng ginawa niya. So, babagti ko na lang every now and then para sure kayo na hindi yun yung standard na kasama doon sa bike. Anyway, on to styling. So ngayon, to the uninitiated, baka isipin nyo, Rebel 500 lang naman yun eh. True enough, medyo kamukha niya naman nga yung mas maliit na Rebel. But if you look a bit closer, mapapansin nyo na meron talaga mga differences. Of course, andyan yung round headlamp, yung round side mirrors, medyo iba na yung signal lights dito. Medyo kamukha naman nga yan. Pero yung headlight pattern nitong 1100, ibang-iba yan dun sa 500. Dito naman, kung mapapansin nyo, mas malaki na yung fuel tank. Sa Rebel 500, a little over 11 liters lang yun. Dito, you have 13.6 liters of fuel na kasya. Tapos, medyo kamukha nga din naman niya yung upuan at yung pillion seat. Fair enough. Pero kung titingnan nyo mabuti, sobrang mas mahaba to do sa Rebel 500. By the way, this sits on 21-inch front and 19-inch rear wheels. So, nabanggit ko kanina, meron yung mga aftermarket upgrades dito. So, punahin lang natin yung ilan. Ito, hindi to standard. Kinabit lang yan ni Airpats. Lalagyan niya ng saddlebag. Tapos, meron tank pad dito. Hindi rin yan kasama. And itong windshield sa harap, pinalta na rin yan. Tapos, of course, yung nasa baba, yung malaking crash guard with the aux lights, aftermarket upgrades lang yan. So ngayon, start up na natin yung bike. Sa Rebel 500, wala dito yung susian. Nandito sa harapan. Dito sa 1100, nandito sa ilalim yung saksakan ng susi. Para naman sa lock ng handlebars, nandito pa din sa kanan, like yung before. So, start up na natin. Medyo maingay siya pagka pihit mo. So, meron kang digital instrument cluster na merong gear indicator plus may neutral indicator pa sa gilid. Of course, andyan yung RPM mo, speedometer, and yung fuel gauge. Tapos marami ka rin pwedeng gawin dito. Pwede mo palit-palitan yung display. Nandito yung maximum range mo with the current fuel available. Tapos, meron kang trip A and trip B. Of course, andyan din yung odometer. Madali naman siya gamitin. Andito lang naman yung pindutan. Pero, syempre, pag hindi mo motor yan, hindi ka masyado sanay pa. Tapos, nandito na yung display for the different ride modes. Pero you can switch the ride modes using these buttons as well. So, pipindutin mo lang yung mode, malilipat ka dito, then you click select. Mamaya, habang nag-ride na tayo, didiscuss natin yan. Andito yung signal lamps mo. And itong minus button sa baba, yan yung para sa manual mode. Yung upshift naman, ito. Yung kung saan mo makikita usually yung passing light. Dito naman sa kanan, dito yung kill switch, saka yung ignition. Andito yung pindutan ng neutral, drive, tapos switching between automatic saka manual. By the way, since nabanggit ko nga pala na automatic to, kung mapapansin nyo, medyo kakaiba to. Wala siyang lever dito sa kaliwa. And dito naman sa baba, apakan lang. Wala ring sinusungkit. So, medyo weird siya tingnan sa una, pero pag ginamit mo naman, masasanay ka din naman eventually. By the way, meron nga pala dito nakakabit na quad lock. Kay dad yan, pero wala naman akong quad lock case, so hindi ko ginamit. Instead, ito, nakamount yung phone dito sa Insta360 na mount. Makeshift lang yan. Now, since wala namang masyadong kakaligutin dito sa bike, wala namang underseat compartments or anything, I guess there's nothing else left to do now, kundi mag-sound check bago tayo mag-ride out. Ito yung stock exhaust niya, by the way. Walang binago dito. Medyo thumpy siya eh. Kasi 270-degree crank din. So, iba din yung tunog niya. Medyo malakas actually. Ako, okay na ako sa ganitong tunog. Basically, yung ginagawa ng Honda, kinuha nila yung makina ng Africa Twin tapos sinalpak nila dito sa Rebel. Yun yung 1083cc liquid-cooled parallel twin engine na dito sa Rebel puts out slightly lower figures. 85.8 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 98 Nm of torque at 4,750 RPM ang maximum output nito. At syempre, yung talaga nagpapa-special dito sa Rebel 1100 ay yung dual clutch transmission niya. Without getting a bit too technical, the transmission works like an automatic. Di mo na kailangan mag-shift ng gears at all. Pwede mo pa rin gamitin like a manual, pipindutin mo lang yung plus at minus dito sa may left-hand side ng handlebar. Actually, medyo nakakalito kasi nakapwesto yung downshift sa kung saan mo normally makikita yung busina, tapos yung upshift sa kung saan mo makikita yung passing light. Anyway, sanayan lang naman yan, kaya hindi rin naman malaking problema. Oy! 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 Stop na! Stop! 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 Ano nangyari?
That, by the way, was the Honor X9B. It's a water and dust resistant smartphone, which is why I opted to mount it on a motorcycle. The big screen helps me a lot with navigation too. And as you may have seen from our big blunder during this shoot, the X9B is also a very durable electronic device, capable of withstanding such drops even without any protection whatsoever. The Honor X9B is a mid-range smartphone with a 108-megapixel lossless camera that's quite decent for taking photos or videos, something we do regularly in our line of work. Honor is the sponsor of this video, and if you're in the market for a bang-for-the-buck smartphone, you should check out the X9B and the other models Honor has to offer. Anyway, back to the video.
In terms of performance, ramdam mo talaga yung increase in displacement dito sa 1100. Sobrang torquey ng engine at sobrang lakas yung marangkada. Hindi siya mala sport bike acceleration pero pang liter bike na talaga yung power niya. Yung 6-speed DCT niya, swabing-swabe pag cruising ka sa highway. Ang problema ko lang sa kanya, pag naka-standard ka na ride mode, sobrang aga mag-shift. Normally kung ako mag-ride, medyo mataas ang RPM ko. Pero dito parang nagmamadali mag-upshift lagi yung gearbox. Mababang RPM naman pumapalo yung peak torque nitong Rebel 1100 kaya hindi mo rin masasabing di mo na ma-maximize yung power band. Pero hindi lang talaga siya masyado swak sa riding style ko. May multiple ride modes naman na pagpipilian para pwede mo i-maximize yung traction or yung power output. Pero personally, pwede na sa akin yung standard kahit pa may reklamo ako sa shifting. Mas balanse siya. Good bonus na lang para sa akin na meron kang rain mode para at least kontrolado yung throttle response mo pag madulas ang kalsada. Pagdating naman sa handling, ramdam mo yung bigat ng 1100 through corners kasi nga medyo maliit yung motor. Di tulad sa mga mas matatangkad na bikes, mas distributed yung weight. Dito sa Rebel medyo mapitpit yung bigat sa baba. That being said, it still handles well and is still highly enjoyable through mountain roads. Manage your expectations na lang siguro kasi hindi naman talaga para sa twisties tong motor na to. Bagay na bagay talaga to sa long open roads tulad ng mga expressway sa norte. Cruising on the highway is a breeze with 1100 and the driving position is very relaxed. Note lang na dito sa motor ni AirPods may riser nang nakalagay. So mas abot ko rin talaga yung handlebars. For those na katulad ko na 5'5" at hindi kahabaan ng wingspan, baka i-consider nyo rin na magpalagay ng riser if kukuha kayo ng ganitong motor. Pagdating naman sa traffic, hindi pa rin siya masaya gamitin, syempre. Pero ang kinaganda mo ay hindi na nga kailangan mag-operate ng clutch. Walang nangalay factor sa kaliwang kamay. Walang constant shifting na kailangan gawin. Kaya kahit stop and go na masisikip na parte ng syudad, medyo chill ka pa din. Tapos pag talagang standstill na, pwede ka pa mag-parking brake para wala ng preno-preno at all. Kudos din pala to Honda for adding that. Sana mas marami pang motor yung may ganyang feature. As far as fuel economy is concerned naman, talagang pang liter bike na rin ang konsumo. Kaya pa na umangat sa 20 km per liter yung consumption ko sa 1100. Siguro kung strictly sa highway, kaya ng 20+. Pero in mixed conditions, yung best ko ay 18 to 19 km per liter lang talaga. Ngayon, baka isipin ng iba medyo magastos, pero yung tutusin, swak lang din para sa displacement ng motor.
650,000 pesos. Yun yung SRP ng Honda Rebel 1100. Medyo sulit siya for a liter bike if you think about it. And that also brings us to the pros and the cons. And that's the biggest one. That's number one, the price tag. The Honda Rebel 500 stickers for 399,000 pesos. Ito, more than double the displacement but less than double the price tag. You do the math. Kaya nga sobrang sulit nito di ba? Number 2 naman, the design. For me, I like how Honda has kept it simple. Sure, medyo kamukha niya nga yung Rebel 500 but that's okay. Kasi nga, ito naman yung bigger brother And that also means, sobrang dami mong ways para ma-customize to. Ang dami mong pwede baguhin, ang dami mong pwede idagdag. Kaya nga din marami na in love dun sa Rebel 500 kasi ang daming customization options. And the same goes for the Rebel 1100. Next naman is performance. The Rebel 1100 may have a detuned version of the Africa Twins engine, but it's still undoubtedly a liter bike. Kung upgrading ka from a Rebel 500 or some similarly mas maliit na motorcycle,
mararamdaman mo talaga yung difference once you try this bike out. Sure, hindi siya nasa 100 horsepower range, pero ibang-iba yung acceleration and torque nito than smaller displacement motorcycles. Sabi nga nila, there's no replacement for displacement. Lastly, of course, yung automatic transmission or specifically yung DCT. Meron siguro sa inyo dyan mga gusto mag-big bike pero hindi nila magawa kasi hindi sila marunong mag-manual. Well, kung tingin nyo, ready na kayo mag-upgrade to bigger displacement motorcycles, baka ito na yung hinihintay nyo. Kasi hindi mo na kailangan mag-clutch, wala kang shifting na kailangan gawin. And if you want to play around with it, andyan pa rin naman yung manual mode nito and pwede ka mag-shift through these buttons. So, you still have the sort of enjoyment of trying out a manual bike, but you have the convenience of driving or riding an automatic. That now brings us to the cons. And ironically, number one is also for me, the transmission. Like I said earlier, pag naka-standard mode ka, medyo weird eh. Ang aga mag-shift nung transmission. Di mo ako lagi matulin mag-ride pero ayoko ng ganun. 50 kph takbo ko pero nasa 5th gear na ako. That's not how I ride. Of course, pwede kang mag-sport mode. Eh, paano kung ayaw mo naman yung ganong batak ng motor, di ba? Of course, papasok doon yung custom ride mode na ikaw yung magtitimpla. Or, pwede ka, of course, mag-manual mode. Pero it kind of defeats the purpose of having the automatic, di ba? But then again, that's just my preference. I'm sure the titos out there still appreciate the automatic or the DCT for what it is. The second con, now kakasabi ko lang kung gusto nyo mag-upgrade, baka ito yung hinihintay nyo. There's also one thing to consider, yung bigat nito. This weighs 233 kilograms and all that weight is down here. Since mababa siya, cruiser siya, nasa baba lahat ng weight. So, kung hindi ka pa masyado sanay mag-straddle ng motor, kahit pa 690mm lang yung seat height nito, baka mahirapan ka sa bigat. So, I wouldn't exactly say it's that beginner-friendly. Also, especially considering na ang lakas nga ng power output nito. So, wala na kayo dadagdag sa cons actually. Hanggang doon na lang yun. And if you look at it, just by the numbers alone, the pros outweigh the cons. So, if I'm gonna give this a score, well, it's gonna be a solid 9 out of 10.